Today we have Matt Ashby popping on all the way from Mexico. You're in Playa?
Playa del Carmen, yeah.
Yeah. And when I was not that I haven't known Matt for quite some time through EXP, but Matt was one of the first Canadian agents to join. I think back in 2017. Is that correct?
Yep, 15, but joined July 1st, July 2nd, actually, because it was a holiday, 2017.
Nice. She's kind of been in the game for a while, but what I really admire about Matt is a way to articulate rev share and how to speak to people, how to approach it from a cost approach analysis as well, but also how he speaks about not taking the focus off of production while still building his legacy, which is an incredible downline, which he's been doing now for the better part of, I guess, 9 years. Called the 95.5 Red Share training system, which is going to share a little bit with us today. It'll be recorded, which is great, but I've taken some nuggets from this too and applied it to my business. It works really, really well. I've seen some of this before. But yeah, I appreciate it, Matt, for jumping on today. We're excited to hear from you and what you've done. And everybody's here for a reason. They know what you're going to speak about. So we hope to take some nuggets and apply it to our business.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks. Well, good morning, everybody, and excited to share this with you. It's been a long journey, and in building revenue share, this is going to be specific on, we've hit roadblocks, we've been bruised, we've been knocked down, we got back up, we got knocked back down, we got back up. And so today we're going to share with you, basically everything that we've learned in 9 years and how to duplicate. And you'll notice I use the word duplication quite a bit. So the 95.5, let me share a little bit about what it was. When I got licensed in 2014, I joined EXP in 2017, but I was still focused on production. And my dad, who had been licensed since 1984, said, this revenue share thing is kind of interesting. Why don't you focus 95% of your time on selling real estate and 5% of your time connect me with agents? And that is where the 95.5 was born. I focused on production, and 5% of my time was I was referring agents to dad who had really did a deep dive on revenue share and knew how to do cost analysis and all that. And so we took that system and we started duplicating it with our team. And this is the 95.5 system. So it's basically a system to build, excuse me, $100,000 a year in passive income over 3 years. We have some agents who have done it sooner. We have some agents that have taken longer, but I'm going to share with you how that all works. So 95% of your time selling real estate and 5% of your time agent attraction using a duplicatable system. So here are the contents here. So foundation and getting organized, the value proposition, setting your goals, your master list and CRM, the factory, prospecting and sorting, cost analysis and 10-year stock chart, drip campaigns, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. I'll tell you right now, this is not going to be a 4-hour presentation. It'll be about 30 to 40 minutes, just to let everybody know. So there's a few things that you absolutely need to know. You have to have belief in the company itself. I'll tell you right now, any prospects that you're talking with, whether they're brand new, 5 years in the business, 20 years in the business, there is somebody in an extremely similar situation as them who have joined EXP and have had a success story. That's the way I look at it. We are such a big company now. Every single person that you're talking to, give or take, has a very similar story of somebody else who has joined EXP and increased the value of their life, made more money, done more transactions, built some passive income. So have belief in the company, where we're headed, and where we're going. You have to treat RevShare as a business. This is not a part-time thing. It doesn't work. It's very difficult to make it work as a part-time business. If you treat it like a $5,000 a year business, it's going to pay you like a $5,000 a year business. If you treat it like a $250,000 a year business, it will pay you like a $250,000 a year business. So we're going to show you the tools, support, and a duplicatable system that you can start implementing. And then obviously the final one, which everybody knows here, believe in yourself. What is your why? And you have to get to events, the EXP cons, the regional rallies, whatever event that you can get yourself in the room with people who are building revenue share in a big way and learn from them, ask for them. They're always open to sharing every single thing that they're doing for agent attraction. And so when you're in those events, you're in that proximity, you gotta take some pictures. It becomes social proof for you when you're actually sharing it with a prospect. So knowing the value proposition, everybody kind of knows this already. This is how we share it. But the traditional bucket system of sales, most agents are in two buckets: listings and sales. EXP, we have stocks, dividends, revenue share. So key is having agents understand the value proposition. If you're not quite sure of the value proposition, ask somebody in your upline, ask a fellow colleague, really fine tune as to how the stock works, what are the actual benefits of it, and understand the value proposition. Now, this is one of my favorites that we implemented recently. And does everybody know Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, or have heard of him? Cash flow quadrants, business owner and investing, the two quadrants driving 95% of wealth. This was a really big addition to our presentation, and it just made a lot of sense for agents. Now, I don't know why that all came up at the same time, but let me just minus this here. So the old model, you can see here, get this out of the way, 5% of the wealth is owned by, is done by 95% of the population. They either have a job or they own a job, self-employed. This is where the listing and sales come in. At EXP, we have the self-employed, obviously buying and selling, but we also have a business and a system. That's called revenue share. And we also have the investor quadrant, which is stocks and dividends. So when you pile it all together, this is where true wealth is made, and it's now available for real estate agents. So if you have the opportunity to add this into a presentation somewhere, it has become a very valuable visual for a lot of the agents that we speak with. So here's a 3-year game plan. This is what we did. 1 exposure per week. It's 50 a year. You're going to take Christmas off and some holidays. Out of those 50 exposures, you're going to probably have about 5 new agents a year if you're following a system. I can guarantee everybody in this room has talked to a real estate agent at some point in time, did maybe a little, planted a couple seeds about EXP, took their business card, and then 2 years later or a year later, you found that business card somewhere under your desk and you go, oh, geez, I talked.
Oh, he's smiling. Must be that Mexico. That's why I thought.
Okay, am I back?
Yeah, you're back now.
On that Mexico internet, guys, you're gonna have to bear with me. I stopped as soon as I said, but I guess the point of that last sentence was, if you don't have a system, if you're talking to prospects, that's great. But if you don't have a system that you're plugging them into to have consistent follow-up, reach out once in a while, share them with the news. And I'm going to share with you exactly how I create drip campaigns and how I do cost analysis by the end of this call. And I'll share my screen and show you guys. Okay. What we found with our numbers is that if an agent brings on around 15 agents, give or take, and plug them into a system, plug them into an upline like myself or Patrick, who do this full time, we've stepped out of production, that in around the 3-year mark, their team or group will have grown to about 100 agents, because it's a good old 80-20 rule. Those 20% of the 15 get paired with us. We work with their networks, and that's how it expands well outside of your local marketplace and starts growing. And it only takes really one conversation to get this ball going. So when we look at revenue share, I don't look at the 20,000 a month or 50 or 100 or 200,000 a month. What I look at is how much revenue share would I have to build in order to cover all of my real estate expenses, my signage, my EXP cap, my monthly fees, and I'll get into that shortly. And then I took that same game plan as to how to cover all those expenses, and I duplicated it over and over and over and over. Very simple. It's all about conversations, and you don't have to overcomplicate it. And as we all know, 100,000 a year in passive income is about having $2.5 million in the bank invested at 4%. It is worth your time to take 5% of your time and really create a game plan for agent attraction. So everybody knows this. This is old school, but I love it because old school does work. A lot of people think agents are just going to knock on their doors, shoot them a text, call them and say, I'm ready to join EXP. They're unicorns. Okay. This is a relationship business. And if you don't pick up the phone and you don't plant those seeds and make those calls, you're going to be kicking yourself wondering why your revenue share is not building. I do coaching calls and I tell agents, open up your calendar for the last 2 weeks and show me what you have done. And it's, oh, I text somebody, oh, I sent them an email, I did this, I did that. And really, you're not getting to the core root of solving their problems. We're in the problem solving business when it comes to agent attraction. And if you don't know what the value proposition is for an agent who's brand new, for an agent 5 years in the business, 15 years in the business, 35 years in the business, get to know what that value proposition is and how to plant those seeds and create curiosity. So don't judge, add everybody to the list. Think past transactions, events, real estate boards. Include your chicken list. Yeah, everybody has a chicken shit list. I don't care who you are. Somebody that you are just deathly scared to talk to. Write them down and put them in your list. And you need to have a CRM, just like transactional sales. You need to have a CRM to track what you're doing, just like you would with buyers and sellers. You don't use an Excel spread. Well, maybe somebody uses an Excel spreadsheet, but most people don't, right? You treat it, you wouldn't go to a listing appointment and then not follow up. You wouldn't go to a listing appointment and just say, oh, they didn't call me back. I guess that's it. You need to have a CRM to track this and be able to track your stats. Has anybody read this book? Jeb Blunt, Fanatical Prospecting? Yeah, it's honestly, it has to do more with social selling and it's a great way to always be in prospecting mode, even when you're not thinking about it. If you haven't read the book, I highly recommend it on Kindle or whatever. Um, it really changed the way I looked at viewing prospecting. And I'm going to share with you the art of the referral and how it's been very highly successful for myself. Your network around you is a gold mine. Most people think about agents and with agent attraction, but your doctor, your dentist, your accountant, your plumber, your electrician, your other friends, they will have relationships with agents that you don't have with. And you can ask for a referral. You can ask, hey, do you know a rock star agent who is just absolutely crushing it in, outside of Kitchener, outside of Ottawa, or wherever you might be? And you'd be surprised how happy people are to give up their information. And that becomes a warm connection. So I'm going to give you a quick story how this works. Does anybody know Chris Anderson from Arizona? Heard the name before? No, probably not. Okay. So we were traveling through Arizona. Dad and I, family, we were in a coffee shop. We saw some two elderly ladies, retired ladies rather, and they were just shooting, just chatting away. And we called the Rob Flick special. And he calls asking for referrals. We asked the ladies, hey, do you know any? We're just passing through. Do you know any rock star realtors? Oh, you have to talk to my friend Chris. She's the best. She's amazing. She does everything. She's fantastic. This one conversation has now led to over $100,000 a year in passive income through revenue share. This is Chris. Chris is a former top Remax team in Sedona, Arizona. Now, when we called her, we didn't say we were looking to buy. We said we're passing through. We'd like to share with you a brokerage opportunity. Could we meet for coffee? We're from Canada, etc. This is Chris's credentials. Now, keep in mind, we didn't know any of this. I don't know what a lot of these abbreviations mean, but I know that it means that she probably sells a ton of real estate. Okay. She's also an Emmy nominated TV host and a Telly Award winning realtor for the show Selling Sedona. After 30 days of our initial presentation, Chris and her whole team joined eXp Realty. She's now been with us for 7 years, iconed every single year, and has created a few hundred agents in her revenue share throughout the United States and continuing to grow. So that one conversation in that one coffee shop led to over $100,000 US per year in revenue share. So you never know where a referral will lead to. So just keep your mind open when you're speaking to lots of other people. And if you love to travel, if you go to resorts, you come down to Mexico and you meet up people from all over and you're in the pool having a margarita, be in that prospecting mode. Fanatical Prospecting. It's a great book. Okay. So one of the biggest tools and one of the biggest hurdles that we found, does anybody realize when they first joined EXP, were they just overwhelmed? Learning
Yeah.
about the stock and revenue share, all the tools, and it's cloud-based and it's this and it's that. And It's too much. We did it for years and years, Zoom calls, an hour presentation. Then I'd ask somebody, what do you think of the revenue share? It's like, oh yeah, the 3-year vesting is really good on the revenue share. It's like, no, 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 right? It was too much. So what we did was we created a system called the two-step business evaluation. And what this does is it breaks it down and becomes a sorting process for us. So this is our website, exp2stepevaluation.com. It's what our whole team uses, and it's a funnel. Basically, you get really good at connecting, and it goes to a 10-minute video that I actually shot here. If they're intrigued, they go to the next step, and which is a cost analysis. They get a copy of our books, and then they can book a Zoom call with us. As your team starts growing pretty big, it's very difficult to do one-on-ones with everybody who wants to learn about EXP. So this becomes a filter to not waste your time, but it also becomes a duplicatable system for your team to plug into. And they're able to now get really good at just becoming the connector and letting us do the heavy lifting with the presenting. Okay. And I'll show you that book and cost analysis and 10-year stock chart. I'll show you this when I exit this presentation, and I'll show you what it actually looks like. And our strategy has always been no pressure, no convincing, but putting out the facts and showing them a way to solve their pain points and elevate their business and their lifestyle. That has been our motto since day one. We're more soft and relaxed in it, and we let people come to their own conclusions once they have enough information, if they've done their due diligence. And there's two reasons for this. If I force sell EXP down somebody's throat, one, nobody likes that. And two, if the smallest little thing goes wrong on onboarding or a month in or a year in, they're going to feel like they were sold into something that they weren't 100% behind in the first place. So we take our time with it. We get them to events. We show them the information. We do a cost analysis, and that is a true art form of attraction rather than trying to sell somebody on joining. And I think that's one of the reasons why our retention is a bit higher, is because, when little things go wrong, they know they can see past it and they can move forward. Okay. So let the system sort the serious. So how to use the system, and I'll get into this a little bit in a bit. In-person book and the manual. The second best way is a Zoom call with a prospect, and I'll show you again the system. And the good luck way, or the Hail Mary way, is sending through an email. If you send the system through an email, nobody's going to open it, nobody's going to look at it. And if you think they are, and maybe they will, we're in a relationship business. You need to get on the phone and talk with people. It's as simple as that. The people who get on the phone and talk to people are the ones who build revenue share. Use a CRM. It doesn't matter which one. The best one is the one that you actually use, automates follow-ups, tracks. We were using CRM Grow. We switched to Follow-Up Boss, so this has to be updated. But it really just helps you focus on the most engaged agents who are opening your content and viewing your videos. And again, if you want to treat this as a business, if you have to treat this as a business, don't worry about that sentence. That doesn't make any sense. If you treat this as a business, it will pay you like a business with 5% of your time. And I use a lot of time blocking, which you'll get, which is very important. So this is how I sort my prospects. People have different ways. A's are intrigued, and we have a Zoom set. I get to meet them. I get to talk to them in person. They are on my A list. They are my people that I'm focusing my most energy on. My B's are not now. Add to a drip campaign, set up texts and phone calls, once every 6 weeks, give or take, touch base. And guess what? When I touch base with my B's, it's not always about EXP. It's about something that I pulled in the notes in my CRM about who they are, their dogs, their family, their move, their favorite football team. I'm building a relationship. So I'm finding out how much information, the more information you can have about somebody, the more information you can find about their pain points. And the way that you present EXP to solve those pain points, it becomes an art to do it, but they can then see how this brokerage can solve their pain points. And I'll give you an example. Everybody knows that if a brand new agent comes to EXP, you're probably not talking 95% about revenue share, right? Makes no sense. So we've just filtered that and narrowed that down to really find the pain point of that agent and how we can help them. C's are negative, nurture campaign and move on. Protect your mindset. You're going to have people tell you you're crazy. It's a pyramid scheme. There's all this other stuff. Protect your energy, protect your mindset, stay focused on your why and your goals, and focus on your A's and B's. We've had agents now in our database 6 years on drip campaigns, on random texts, on phone calls who have joined us. 6 years. Not everybody's ready to move right away, and that's okay. That is okay. But it could be a simple argument with their broker owner over a commission. And if you're top of mind awareness, who are they reaching out to? You. And again, if you try and explain the system, EXP without a system, you're just going to go down a rabbit hole and you're going to be frustrated. Your prospect's going to be confused. You need to have a system and let the system do the talking. This is the factory. Again, kind of reiterating the A, B's, and C's. We use the EXP two-step evaluation as a factory, and every factory has three things. They have a finished product, they have something that needs a little bit of work and fixed, and then they have the poison. Okay, that's the A, B's, and C's. This is the way we use it. A's come in, it's either welcome to EXP, not now, into a drip campaign, welcome to EXP. B's going to drip campaign. And C's, I still put them on a nurture, but they're truthfully people that if their belief isn't in the company, I don't want to work with anyways, and that's going to be part of the business. All right, let's get to the good stuff. So has anybody done a cost analysis and can run a cost analysis, knows how to do it based off of getting two pieces of information from a prospect? No? Okay, I'm going to explain the system that, and we just finished this. Okay, and I'm going to share my screen as to how we do it, but we create a curated cost analysis and equity award accumulation specific to that agent. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It explains obviously there's just disclaimers I'll show you everywhere, but it shows them what if the stock's at $7, $5, $10, excuse me, how many shares they would accumulate through Icon Award, Agent Equity Program, miscellaneous bonuses, and creates a graph on what happens if the price goes up or down. Again, big on, we've created this whole system, and it's basically using the exact same disclaimers that EXP uses, and even with a revenue share as well. So we're showing the big picture of compounding. When we stopped focusing on revenue share and started focusing on stock, which I think was the underrated part of our compensation plan, we started having way better results. And I don't know why, but it just started making sense. Agents understand that if they go lease something for 20 years, they make the landlord rich. If they go buy something, pay down their mortgage, they create equity. It's a very simple analogy, and it's something that resonates with all agents. So we hammer down and double down on how the stock works over a 10-year period in just collecting little things, maybe how to hit Icon, the Agent Equity Award, and it starts really showing a bigger picture of that it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Just like you're not going to pay down your house in two years, but over time, you're going to build something, you're going to build an asset that's actually worth something. Okay. So let me show you guys quickly how that looks like. I'd love to get your feedback because nobody has actually seen this yet. You guys can still see my screen here?
Yep.
Okay. So what I've done here is the 95.5 curated cost analysis. If you were talking to a US agent, you just switch over to USD, it puts on the plans. The 2 buckets and 5 buckets, and I'll take you through how it works. I'm just going to use the first name I see, Peter. I'm going to use your name. Okay, so put in there. You don't really need the email if you want to. Peter does 350,000 in GCI and does 30 ends. Okay. What this does automatically is gets average commission, shows the cloud brokerage fee, how many ends, broker review, company, and how many deals it took to actually, that's 3.5 million. Let's try that.
I like that number. Let's go with
Yeah.
that.
Way to go, Peter. You're definitely an icon here. It shows, and I'll zoom in a little bit. Basically, how many ends it took to fill the 16,000, how many deals after, and after shows the Icon Award, the actual net cost automatically, the net income, and the effective brokerage cost here. Now we go through all of this, then we show them the equity awards. Under the equity awards, we take them through, because this is more kind of a presentation. This is a third touch. So they've seen a video, they've seen a other material, they maybe read the book. This is the fourth touch now. So they understand that there's stock, there's revenue share, how it works. We explain this in a simple system, 3-year vesting, the agent equity plan, and obviously how Icon works. So it's a cost analysis / presentation. And when we take a look, we just put whatever the stock's at right now and say, Peter's goal is to introduce 3 agents a year, plus he's a capper, and plus he's going to close a deal every year. So 600, 3, 12, so that's 1,800 a year in stock awards. So we can show them that at $7 would be around 27,000 shares, and a 10-year value, if it stayed there, would be just under 200. If it were to be at 14, 386, and if at 28, 772. Okay. We show them this, and it really starts working with them because most people can't fathom 6 figures that a brokerage is going to give them ownership in 10 years. Okay. Now, if they're not Icon, that's fine. This drops down, but it's still typically anywhere close to 6 figures or even over of what it is. Okay. We show them the company, billions in revenue, cash equivalents, debt, all the companies. Obviously, you guys heard that we just acquired Nextome, so that was just added in there. And then we go to the tech stack. We explain all the different kind of tools quickly. In here, if you guys are going to be using this tool, I breeze through this depending on which section that agent falls in is where I spend the most time. Okay, so if they're brand new, I'm really focusing on equity and the tech stack. If they're 10 years in the business, it's going to be tech stack, equity, a little bit of revenue share. And if they're further in the business or been in the business longer, I focus more on revenue share. But it all depends on what that prospect is most interested in, because trying to do one without the other and that prospect isn't interested in it, you're going to lose them. You have to focus on what makes sense for them. Okay, so it has all the tech tools, run your business, EXP World, EXP Pay, all that stuff. So we go through that. And if they want to get more details, I actually have a link here right to the official EXP toolkit. So I can show them real time what it looks like on the back end and take them through it. So if we end up spending an extra 20 minutes on this because they're interested in it, I do it. I go where the prospect tells me to go. Then revenue share, quick explanation on how it works in a very, very layman terms. And then I always just have 5 agents here. The goal of the 95.5, 50 presentations, 5 a year. And this is the magic number. Obviously, it's the 4-year bonus and they're capping, and then goes down to 1,400. But if I can show them how to introduce a handful of agents every single year by becoming a really good connector, and I become the presenter, and that they can now look after all of their EXP expenses by helping the company grow and contribute to that growth, it really makes sense for even a newer agent for something that they could look to in the future. Okay. If it's somebody who wants more, I drop down the tiers and we play around and have a little fun. Obviously, this is actually directly from the EXP disclaimer as well. And then it now breaks it down to rev share potential, annual stock awards, their commission income. We talk a little bit about how they're willable assets, and then we go to our 95.5, our book, What's in It for Me, which is, if you guys don't have a copy, I honestly recommend getting it. We made it as cheap as possible on Amazon. It's like $10. This is actually a prospecting tool. So on the back, Amazon prints it directly and ships it to the contact. So we actually update it with the new changes. And what we do on the back is we have a huge section on top teams, independent brokerages, solo agents, husband and wife teams who have joined EXP throughout the US and Canada, and a bit about their story. Okay, so it is a great prospecting tool. And then we have our training manual, which is basically everything I'm sharing with you in a manual form so you can have it on your desk. Now, here's my favorite part. I hit download, and this is what I do. I print this off. I either email it or I put it in a box with a book and a manual and a handwritten note, and I send it to them. And this breaks down everything that they need to know about EXP Realty when it comes to equity awards, when it comes to the stock, when it comes to the tech tools. And everything is in here, including some of the revenue share. Whatever we spoke about through that cost analysis gets sent to them, and then they can reach out and talk to us. Okay. I will tell you right now, emailing it is one thing. I definitely 100% go for the ability to get their address to send them a free copy of the book. because we're in such a high tech age now that if I were to, when you bring it back to, and you open something in the mail and you have a box with this in it, a nice cover photo, a copy of a couple books and a handwritten, hey, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. You know, as you're continuing your due diligence, I'm here to help answer any questions. I look forward to really, you know, maybe partnering with you in the future. It's a game changer, and that's how you build relationships.
What platform? Oh, planning on asking that.
Yeah, what does it say in this server?
It does, it just says, well, that's the download one, the other one.
I saved the website.
Hey, Matt, can you hear us? You good?
Yeah, I can kind of hear the background a little bit. I can hear you much better.
Ask what platform you built this out on.
I built it on my own and using AI. So I built it's on like it's on my
You have a Canva template?
well, what we're gonna be doing, so like I said, you guys are actually funny enough, the first people to actually see this. It just got wrapped up on like Wednesday with some fine tuning, and what we will be doing is creating a template domain where basically all the information at the bottom would be your website, your logo at the front. And then you can just pair it as a subdomain at whatever it is. So our subdomain is 95-5 Freedom Plan. And you can put your logo here. And then of course, when you put in, John Doe, like everything, John Doe, everything comes in. So yeah, we will be templating it. And if it's something that you like, I'd be happy to share with you.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay. So, yeah, and then this is the EXP two-step business valuation. Again, here's the video. When they're intrigued, they go to the next step. And you guys can write these links down and just check it out for yourself. EXP two-step evaluation. Now, because this is for my team, what ends up happening is when they click to get started, we have our team put in who invited them. So our team is trained, if you will, if they want to build revenue share, to use this as a tool and do it with their prospect online and watch the video with them, whether it be in Zoom or in person. Then they go through the steps, they get a copy of the books, and at the end, they get a Zoom call with myself to run a proper cost analysis. Okay, so there's only two pieces of information that you need for a cost analysis, and it's gross commission income, approximate, and number of ends. That's all you need to run a proper cost analysis.
Beauty. Looks good.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. So why is it the best time to prospect? People say, oh, back 2017 would have been a great time. 2019 would have been a great time. 2022 would have been a great time. The thing, what I've realized is that 90% of 5% of agents, maybe 100% now, have heard of EXP, but very few have gone through what I just showed you. A proper presentation, a proper cost analysis, a deep dive into how this can help build their business. They've just heard stuff through other agents. They've heard stuff through broker owners, which are not necessarily the best. And so there's a huge opportunity, and I'll share with you why. Everybody's heard of Keller Williams. Keller Williams in the 80s had a profit share and a cap. That was revolutionary when it came out and disrupted RE/MAX in a big way, disrupted a lot of the independents, definitely disrupted the banking industry when they came out with the real estate. So as Keller Williams started disrupting, they did not start going into full momentum until they were already number one in the world with agent count. Can you believe that? They were already number one for agent count in the world before they started going into momentum. And the reason is, and the analogy I use, the Gene Frederick, is that some people are going to buy homes when it's just a dirt field or a farm field and a little trailer. Some people are going to buy homes in phase one when the streets are in and the infrastructure is there and the model homes up. Some people are going to buy in phase 1, 2, and 3. And some people, majority of people, buy when? In the resale market. So we're kind of, I think, I thought we were at like I thought we were in the resale market. I think we're still in phase 2 and 3 as we're continuing to bring on the tools. We're continuing to bring on and acquiring new companies. And I really think that we haven't even got to the resale market in that analogy in our growth. And so there's a huge opportunity for that. You don't need to be a recruiter. You don't need to do what I do. You don't need to do what Brandon does. You don't need to be somebody who knows everything. You need to partner with somebody who knows what they're talking about and get really good at connecting. I'll tell you right now, and Brandon, I normally use this because people don't know, but everybody knows Georgia Tush, okay, in the Tush Real Estate Group. I guarantee you, maybe she knows a bit more now, that she cannot give a proper EXP presentation. For the last, since 2018, she connects me, texts me, said, Matt, here's somebody who's interested, wants to learn more. I take over. And then when they join, they name her as the sponsor. That's literally how she's built revenue share. And she's earning over 5 figures a month in rev shares. Okay. So you don't have to be good. And she sells a ton of real estate. That's the 5% of your time to tap into. Okay. Leverage global opportunity, the tools, and definitely co-sponsorship. So let me share with you guys before I wrap it up. I don't even know what time it is. Okay. We're at 40 minutes here. I'm going to show you quickly a very simple way to set up a drip campaign. Okay. Has everybody heard of life.exprealty.com? We're going to plug into ChatGPT or whatever AI you prefer. And I'm going to show you how to set up an automated email, or at least how to create them to set it up in your CRM in like 15 seconds. And you can do this as many times as you want, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay. So what we do, we go over ChatGPT, and here's the prompt I use. Okay. I'll send this in an email, but you can do it in your own words. Creating a drip campaign for real estate agents looking to join. Want you to analyze the link I share, create an enticing email that prompts curiosity for the reader. Please add a great call to action questions at the end and add in, this should be add in my EXP two-step evaluation, my Calendly link, offer a free cost analysis and stock accumulation chart. That's 100% confidential. Don't make the email crazy long. Short to medium is better, and add in a few emojis. Here's the link. You go over to life.exprealty.com. You look at agents, new joiners. This is where typically big stuff. If anybody's heard Initia joined, we were pretty grateful to be a part of that. And they're currently in the onboarding stage right now, which is really, really cool across Canada, the US, Mexico, and a few in Colombia. What I do is I click on, pardon me?
I see, like Randy part of that, or who was you as well?
Yeah, it's me,
Awesome.
Randy, Phil, yeah.
Amazing.
So what you do is you go to a link. You take that link, go to your ChatGPT, you paste it in. This is very basic, but extremely powerful. Here's your first drip campaign email. Now, what I do is I do tools at EXP. I do credibility, and then I'll do something with the company itself. And I go in rotation on my drip campaign. Because if you just go new agents, it gets old. You want to tune it up like with Sisu or the EXP World or the acquisition of Next Home. You want to show that the brokerage is continuing to grow and do really cool things while they're stuck in their brokerage doing the same thing over and over that they've been doing for the last 10 or 15 years. Show that we're doing things.
You said tools, what else?
So I do basically with EXP World Holdings as a company. So either financials or some sort of an announcement or whatever it might be. I do the agent, and then I do tools itself. Like I'll do one on Canva AI, do one on Sisu, I'll do one on Close, I'll do one on Bold Trail, CRM of choice, that kind of stuff. And I have about a 2.5-year campaign right now that goes out. And then I also have my initial campaign that takes place when if an agent introduces me to another agent, I edify that agent through there, and then they go on my drip campaign as well, and they're tagged in my CRM that I know they were introduced by so-and-so. And yeah, then you go back, let's find something else. And I'll just show you guys how easy, here's a great one. Why real estate team mergers, next big industry shift. Boom, plug it in, do the same thing with this. Now you can curate it to yourself, add the emojis, whatever it might be. You can add 15 links in at the same time, which is what I'd recommend. And now you have a copy and paste drip campaign set up, and it's just automating it. Okay. This is how the basic version of ChatGPT, but it is very, very powerful because again, you want to be top of mind awareness. You need to be top of mind awareness. And to go above and beyond, this is the bare minimum that you should be doing with the 5% of your time in agent attraction. Bare minimum. Because everybody knows probably now an EXP agent, you need to be able to stand out and you need to build that relationship stronger than anybody else. That comes with the phone calls, the text, finding their pain points. Whoever finds their pain points first and solves it first is going to most likely be the agent who they want to partner with, because that prospect truly believes that you understand where they need to go in their business and that you can help them take them there. And guys, that's pretty much it for me. That's kind of what I wanted to share with you. We got some pretty cool things going on. And here's a copy of our books. Again, we made them as cheap as Amazon would let us make them, with them printing it. So what's in it for me? A revolutionary new model for real estate. I highly recommend it. It shows the paradigm shift taking place in the industry right now, starting from the banking industry, the mom and pops, to the franchises, to cloud-based. Understanding your competitors' comp plans and your competitors' history as a brokerage will become extremely important when you say it. When I can tell somebody at Keller Williams the story of Keller Williams and why Gary Keller did this and why he did that and how capping did this and profit share, it really shows, oh, this guy really knows what he's talking about. Most agents don't even know the story of Keller Williams. Right? And you can use it for Century 21, all that stuff. So that explains everything in there. And then this is our manual. We're in such a high-tech world these days that having something physical on your desk that you can follow up, you can actually write your master list in there. You can write your goals, your whys. You can time block in there. You can do a lot of stuff. So I highly recommend getting that. They both can be found on Amazon. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. Any questions that I can help answer? It could be literally anything. I just wanted to give everybody here some gold nuggets to use to put into your business. And yes, it may seem a little overwhelming, but what I did was I treated it as a actual business, not as a side bucket of EXP. So the key thing is just getting started and building it and being consistent with that 5%, and you'll end up having systems like this in place and ready to go.
Hey, Matt, I've got a question, if that's okay.
Sure.
Hey, if you're going after, say, a smaller brokerage with 10 to 15 agents, and, depending on how their cap structure is set up, maybe, it's a small brokerage and they're running on 90-10 or something like that. How do you bring that type of brokerage over to EXP? So how do you overcome, like, if he has to go to his agents and say, I've got a great opportunity, you're all going to be paying a 29% cap to, 80,000 instead of, how does that, I don't know, how do you overcome that?
So number one with independence that I found is you have a few roadblocks. One is going to be ego with the broker owner. The easiest way that I get into a conversation with them is that and with smaller ones, it's a little different, but typically if it's a smaller independent brokerage with 10 or 12, 15 agents, you're going to have 2 or 3 generals that are in that brokerage. They're the ones who do most of the production. They probably be icon agent over at EXP. So you start with the broker owner, you go after the generals, you get them to make the introduction. It's a private meeting. I always introduce NDAs. It brings it more credibility in place. We do the presentation, we do the cost analysis with the generals. We say to them what we can potentially offer, with regards to tools. The thing with independence is what I've found is that any independents that have more than 50 to 100 agents, about half of them are just dead weight and just look good on a website saying they have 100 agents. And when I say dead weight, they may do a deal a year, no deals, they're parking their license, whatever it might be. And I've done cost analysis for 1,000 agent brokerages, 500 agent brokerages, 300 and 3 agent brokerages. And so you tend to find that the bigger that they get, the less weight they have. The one thing with, again, with independence, and to kind of more answer your question directly, is I always find who's your top 3 producers. We run their cost analysis because they share the information with us prior. We can say, hey, if we get these guys on board, You keep your own branding, you can keep your office, keep your culture, but you're going to get all the tools of $1 billion company. And my goal for you would go from 10 agents to say 100 agents, but you're not going to be responsible for them. You're not going to have trust accounts or commission trust accounts. And the one thing, again, with the smaller ones, the biggest pain point, and this is just from what I've realized, is they don't have an exit strategy. They can't sell, Eddie Real Estate Group. Nobody's going to buy it if Eddie's not there, right? And so we show them how EXP, that's the number one pain point for small independents is their exit strategy. They just don't have it, or they can't compete with companies and the tools that like EXP offers. And most brokers, when they understand, go, hey, I might lose 5 agents or 6 agents making this transition because they only do 3 deals a year and the 139 a month is going to scare them. But I'm going to put together a plan, partner with Matt and whomever, and we're going to go build 30, 50, 100 agents and earn the passive income from it and continue with our branding. Sorry, you were muted there, Eddie. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, great. Yeah, I'm just trying to, there's a few different people who I have in mind who we've been talking to, and I'm trying to be a little preemptive and trying to overcome some of the obstacles because I know they're going to be obstacles and try to figure out how to, meander through that. But thanks.
For sure. And just quickly on it, and then is in the back of the book, we actually have a bunch of independents and why they joined. Also on life.exp realty, put in independent brokerages. There was the top 10 reasons. I don't know if the article is still there, but read all those articles because when an independent broker joins, they'll tell you exactly why they joined and use that as leverage with that independent brokerage. Say, hey, you may be having similar problems and pain points that may not be visible for your agents to see, but there's a bit of a pattern here. Let me know if this resonates with you. And if it does, I'd love to share with you a path for you to get out of the trap you're in and start building a true asset.
Okay. No. So I have my own brokerage as well. So I do understand some of those pain points, but I guess it's, touching and reminding them and showing them the way. So thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, you're very welcome. Emily, I see you got your hand up.
Yeah, I'll just pipe in here because I'm with Eddie here in Niagara Falls, and Eddie and I met with somebody who has their own brokerage, 13 agents. We met, I think, a week ago. It went really well. It was the kind of founder, and we didn't have the broker of record in front of us, so we didn't have that other second person there. And we left it like he was going to talk to the broker, who I also know that guy too, because I know all these guys from my last 10 years here. So I think this has been really helpful for me. And I think Eddie, like one thing, like I'm very techie with AI now, and having these slides and seeing you go through this, I think Eddie, we need that final piece to present to them. Like we sit down and talk, like, and it's all in our head, which is, great. And we're trying to build that rapport in the beginning. But I think where Eddie and I are getting mixed up is like we just want to sit down and relate and ask them questions, but then it's that next step of, okay, we really want to show you now and go into what you just did. We don't have this. We don't have a presentation. So so I think that's where we hesitate going to the next step. And I could easily take this and, do something like this, Eddie. So we have it. And then it's like, okay, we want to show you actually some more numbers. And if I could just ask you, because I was doing other things and I skipped this, but the 2 pieces of info you need off every prospect, can you just name those 2 again?
Yeah, so and it's a great point. This is why collaboration at EXP is amazing. Why I'm sharing this with everybody because the more that we grow together, the stronger we become as a brand and a company. I think this is the true definition right here of collaboration. I think we would all agree with that, right? So take everything you need. Just a quick point. And I just have 9 minutes because funny enough, I have a small independent brokerage in North Carolina on a Zoom coming up in nine minutes, and they have 9 agents, which is really funny. So The two pieces of information for the cost analysis are their approximate gross commission income as well as the number of ends. That'll tell you if they hit Icon, how many deals are away from Icon, their agent equity program, their stock, and everything. Don't rush for that right away. You have to build a relationship. And most people will underestimate their numbers. I find that if it's 100,000, they'll say 70 or they'll say 150. It's one or the other, right? So when I go through the cost analysis and they say 100,000 and 10 ends, I plug that in. I say, and then it plugs into our system how many more ends for Icon. But I know that they're a bit far away from Icon, so I'm focusing more on the EXP tech stack. But the EXP two-step evaluation, if you verbally try to do presentations, they only retain so much. If you do the presentation with them, they'll retain more. Where somebody becomes a true believer and understands it is when they go through it themselves and really just have their mindset focused on what this is all about. So that typically takes a third or fourth time. If somebody can come to the conclusion that this makes sense for them and they have to move forward on their own, it's game over. If they're feeling like you're constantly pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, there becomes a wall that comes up. So you have to learn how to break down that wall and have them go through the information and come to the conclusion. And that's why we have these cost analysis. This is why we have these presentations. They're set to subliminally basically plant seeds as to why this would not be a no-brainer for them. But again, they have to come out on the other end with the decision themselves. Nobody likes to be sold.
This is awesome. Thank you. Thanks
Yeah,
to
you're very
Brandon. Brandon invited me yesterday. Thanks, Brandon. This has been great.
Anytime, any other questions, guys?
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Matt. Super informative, man. I'll give you a few minutes to prep for your next appointment.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I was apparently going to be sent a Zoom link for 11 a.m. Eastern, so it's that's my time in 7 minutes. But guys, I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, send me an email. I'm an open book. I think we can all grow together. I think we can bring our everything, even when it comes to agent attraction, to a higher standard. And we're all going to win together. So, feel free to reach out anytime. I appreciate the invite, Brandon. And if you guys ever want more information, I'm always happy to jump in and do this again.
Appreciate it, Matt. We'll be in touch. Thanks, brother.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Hey,
Matt.
guys.
Thank you, Brendan. Thank you, Spencer.
Thanks, guys. Any key takeaways, guys? No. I think I'll just kind of start, but I think when he was talking about referrals through other agents too, something I said to Greg yesterday, but I was also talking to Andrew about too. And then he talked about don't be afraid to call, a top producing agent and all that kind of stuff too. But oftentimes, sometimes maybe people aren't open to the conversation or they're not interested in what you have to offer or so forth. But we were taking that next step in our prospecting calls last week and saying, okay, who do you know who the same way you would do for a referral? Who do you know who that might be interested in using what we have to offer in their business? Maybe they're driven, they're not getting the results they're getting right now. That actually makes them have that second thought of good question. So kind of taking that next step is one of my key takeaways anyways from today. Obviously, just having a CRM and managing your actual contacts, which again too, we've just gone back to the basics and started utilizing Bold Trail specifically just for recruiting. And having those names in there, what we've done, but now taking that next step for me is, having some type of video, having a cost analysis, having options beyond that is super important. And then just seeing how easy it is to set up drip campaigns is eye-opening for sure.
I just think giving stuff away is, Scott and I have had breakfast before this and talked about that. We're both creating a lot of stuff right now. Scott didn't talk, but I talked about it. And just I think that getting in front of as many of those people with the stuff hard, it's what Emily said, it's that next step of actually showing them the numbers and showing that cost analysis and showing people it's just that's great, super comfortable, but you're giving someone $25,000 a year. That's a lot extra just just because they're don't want to make a change, right? And I think some people just really need to see that. I think most people can't calculate what their mortgages in their heads, so why are we thinking that agents are calculating the velocity in their head, right? They're just looking at what they know. And they're not seeing that gap, so.
For sure. I think that we're doing such an incredible job of showcasing what we do, of bringing agents kind of into our lives. But I think there's some additional things that we can layer in to obviously help us, close more deals, close more agents into, this environment. Because I truly do believe that we can help them, inspire them to be better people, but also sell more real estate. It's just a matter of getting them to commit and being like, this is the right move for me. What were you gonna say, Jerry?
Building the email system out is genius. Like,
Yeah.
it is. Like taking the highlights and everything, putting it in the guy. It's the one who's got a 2.5 year like.
Yeah,
campaign, that's
yeah.
awesome. It's fantastic. So
Yeah, and he's still adding to it, right? Every single week, he's still focusing that time into doing that. So it's awesome.
I bought both of his books.
So did Emily.
I'd like to know that the platform piece was very user friendly and everything. If you look at all of the AI, everything that's done through AI, it's seamless. It looks awesome.
Yeah, that website template
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
that he put together, that he's gonna share that, right?
For the cost analysis.
Yeah,
It
that's.
sounds like you're probably, if I had to guess, you're gonna probably be able to buy it or
Yeah.
rent it off me, and you just plug your stuff in, which
Yeah.
is what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got it perfectly made, so I'll ask him what kind of time frames on that, and that's cool, we'll get that done. Sweet. Anybody online, any input beyond what you've already inputted?
I think really it's still ultimately just like our clients, it's a relationship game. So the more conversations you're having with agents, unrelated to real estate, the better you're going to build that relationship.
100%. I think it's, you have two different types of businesses. You can have the attraction business, which we're definitely in, but at the end of the day, that's only still going to be so limited to what you can do. It's the same as buyers and sellers, right? If you're just posting on social media and you're really good at it, people are going to drop in your inbox and they're going to say, come buy. I want to buy with you, or come list my home. But if you still pick up the phone in addition to that, and you're calling, you're making inbound calls, you're making your connections and contacts, you're going to obviously have a bigger business. It's the exact same for agent attraction. It's how many conversations we're having with the outbound calls and in-person meetings. Cool. That was good. Thanks, guys, for joining us online. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Brandon.
See you guys. Have a good
Thanks,
day.
guys.
Nice to see you.
Have
Bye.
a good day. Bye.
My old stomping ground.
What? If I know how to do it.
I'm gonna go and pillage that road next.
Stop. Guys.
Yeah. Oh, right. Right. Cheese sauce or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah, if I could figure out how I do a lot of things, I would be better at them. I just do things naturally, and I don't capitalize on all the things, which probably helps me do it naturally, but if I could find like people ask me how do you do that stuff in back in the day, clothing sales or jewelry sales, whatever. They're like, how do you sell everything? And I'm like, I don't know. Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think so, but not, all right. If I can, I'm always looking for either advice so that I'm looking, reading books, or listening to podcasts. I'm always missing things. And maybe I've seen it heard it a million times and I just haven't like, I would love a mentor. I would love to get back there. Like, and I know it's a necessary, like, just getting that's huge. And then not being afraid of the camera and doing more stuff. I'm not leveraging a really big team that would do my business. And it's, I always say like, look, I am what hiding. Like I'm not even saying all the things that I'll do. I don't go in front of the camera. I feel that's try and anything.